What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's KB and we locked in. Now let's jump into it. Today, we're going to be talking about Nipsey Hussle, his rise from the trenches of South Central Los Angeles to his position as a leading figure in the rap industry. Nipsey Hussle was a beacon of hope and inspiration for many people worldwide. His message, emphasizing the importance of personal growth, self-confidence, wealth building, and unwavering commitment, resonated with many. From his Grammy-nominated music to his dedicated community service, Nipsey was carving a path as a pioneer. It's genuinely tragic that his life was cut so short, so abruptly. His life story is one of the most compelling I think I've ever covered on this channel. And if y'all make it to the end, I'm sure y'all will have a newfound respect for Nipsey and what he was striving to accomplish. So without further ado, let's go.
It's a lot of layers to this story.
It was about the potential we all had. How somebody from Crenshaw and Slauson with just an idea and a vision of something he wanted to make happen. My early childhood, we was all together. We lived in my grandma's house. We used to sleep in the same bed, me and my brother and my mom in the back bedroom. So I was happy with our early life. The 90s in LA was epic. The riots was going on. The gangbanging shit was at an all-time high.
Home turf of the rolling 60s.
And that's the era we grew up in.
Neighborhood, West Side 6, y'all know what's happening. Trust Boy TV, we out here.
They didn't want to let the homies sit there.
Hey, folks, that's it. On wood. No Corbin Street videos. No, what's up, neighborhood, what's up, bro? You got it?
Crenshaw and Slauson in the Crenshaw district. Well, this is where really the Nip Hussle story started. How I want my career to be. I wrote it down. What became Slauson Boy Records, what became All Money In, what became the Marathon, what became Nipsey Hussle. Me being from over here, you know what I'm saying, to represent this area, or being accessible to the area, affects my career in a negative way, you know what I'm saying, I'm just taking that one on the chin. And the things that you sacrifice, this is what life is all about.
Say what's happening? Firstborn, man. Say what's up.
Like, what's up, fat man?
You see your daddy?
Now you see my boy? Faith is a required element on your marathon to success and on your marathon of life.
This is the biggest grand opening of any business anywhere in Southern California today.
Grammy nominated. Yes. Nipsey Hussle is in the neighborhood.
It's your footprint in the sand, and you know your dent in the universe.
This is our opportunity.
You made me laugh. Hold on, it gave me smile. Good job.
The impact on the world around you.
Seemed like every dollar he made, he put back into the community.
I want him to say that he wasn't afraid to live. Chasing a dream. Loving. Being real. Speaking the truth. Voices for people that didn't have a voice. And this is my life.
Nipsey Hussle, real name Ermias Ashkadine, was born on August 15, 1985 in Los Angeles, California. More specifically, he was born and raised in South Central in the Slauson and Crenshaw district, a notoriously dangerous part of LA.
Hyde Park is a culturally rich neighborhood in the heart of Los Angeles. But for years, residents there have had to live with the fear of gang violence every day.
This ain't an image we promoting, none of that. I'm not promoting gangbanging in no shape, form, or fashion. None of that. Get that twisted. Understand this. All I'm doing is shedding light on what's going on.
do have a major problem. But the way we're working to solve the problem is just not the police. There is not a police solution to this problem, to this problem, to this problem.
660s.
I have been chasing this music from day one. Like, I've been writing raps longer than I've been doing anything. Gangbanging, grinding, hustling. I've been writing raps longer than I've been doing any of that. You feel me?
Where we at now considered the enemy. This is a blood neighborhood. All these houses, this park, you know what I'm saying? It's the VNG, fan ass gangster blood.
Start gangbanging, you gonna be involved with whether it's robbing, killing, you know what I'm saying, selling dope.
$10, bro.
For what? To get some dope?
Yeah, about to grind up.
I thought you don't sell dope no more.
I lie sometimes.
Come on, cuz.
Nah, I'm about to
What you finna get, an 8-ball? 7? A gram? Come on, cuz, you stupid. You finna buy a gram, cuz?
Cuz I'm about to just get tanked up on the tank.
It was in these streets where Nipsey would defy the odds and make a name for himself. Despite his parents' separation during his early life, his father played an active role in his upbringing, living only a short distance away from them. As a middle child, he was raised alongside his younger sister and an older brother known to the streets as Black Sam. By the time Nipsey reached 7 or 8 years old, his affection for hip-hop began to grow steadily. His earliest infatuation was with the rap duo Criss Cross, which inspired him to dream of signing as a young artist himself and becoming a sensation in the music industry. Consequently, he embarked on a journey to compose his own lyrics. However, he kept his pursuit secret during his early years, hoping that others would somehow discover his hidden talent and offer him a record deal. When his aspirations didn't materialize during his childhood, Nipsey reconsidered his priorities, setting aside his passion for rap and deciding it was time to explore new horizons.
Trying to put it together, like, how do you rap? Oh, you gotta get a studio. You got how much is studio equipment? Man, it's expensive. Like, I used to go to my homie Jermaine's house across the street and we'd build a studio in the backyard with no equipment. We'd just be clearing the dirt. Like, you know what I'm saying, sweeping the backyard up, like, we're gonna build it right here. And then, all right, it should be like 8 feet this way, you know what I'm saying? But just like realizing, damn, we don't have the capacity to do this. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to get money to do this. We can't just wing it off a dream.
Nipsey frequently acknowledged his older brother's Black Sam influence as a driving force behind his own spirit of entrepreneurship. He admired his brother greatly and observed how Black Sam consistently found diverse ways to make money. This deeply inspired a young Nipsey, who took a leaf out of his brother's book and started to explore his own small-scale entrepreneurial ventures during his childhood.
You know, my brother was always a hustler, you know what I mean? So I, as a little brother, you're gonna do what your big brother do. And then also just being in a situation where we needed to kind of like compensate, you know what I mean? And make up for, like, you know what I mean? Things that we felt we should have that we didn't.
In his 6th grade year, Nipsey hustled his way into his first job, shining shoes at Chambers Shoe Shine, located on Slauson Avenue. There were days when he would earn as much as $100 from his diligent work there. This was an impressive sum for a child his age, demonstrating his entrepreneurial spirit from an early stage in life.
Shine shoes at Chambers Shoe Shine, coincidentally on Slauson. So I just went through every business in the neighborhood like I need a job.
Yeah.
And they was like, you too young, you know, you don't have a work permit, you too young. And the only one that gave me a job was a guy by the name of Paul Chambers.
Oh, okay.
And another young dude named Stephen Chambers. And it was a shoe shine parlor. I used to get $2.50 for every shoe I shine.
Yeah.
And my quota was $100 a day, so you can imagine how much
good money for that age.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I bought my whole 6th and 7th grade wardrobe off of that, man, and just learned about saving money and stacking and flipping like early on. So shout out to Chambers, man.
First job I had, I shined shoes. I think I was 11, 12 years old. So there was a spot called Chambers Shoe Shine. And I just went in there, I'm like, look, I want to work, man. I'm young, you know, I come every day, I show up early, I need a job. And dude gave me a shot. And I was making like $90 a day. And I worked 6 days a week. And I was selling candy at the shoe shine spot also. Go to the 99-cent store, you get like $3, $4 candy bars. You sell them for $1, you triple up whatever you spend.
The guys at the shoe shine, they didn't mind it.
Nah, they encouraged it. They laughed at me because I was young, but they was like, dude got a hustler spirit and we gonna support it.
Did anybody tell you to go get a job, or you wanted that?
I wanted to buy school clothes. My mom gave me $40 to go school shopping, and I didn't want to make her feel bad, and I knew that's all she had. And so I'm like, this is not gonna really cut it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My brother was a little bit older, and it was more important for him to get school clothes, and so I understood that, but I'm like, you know, I don't want to put no pressure on you and make you feel bad about not being able to look out. The next summer, I'm like, I want to prevent going back to school without what I need.
Despite the triumphs that Nipsey achieved on his own, Nipsey was still deeply influenced by his older brother's diversified pursuits, and he wanted to replicate it. So while he was holding that job shining shoes, he commenced a small side business as well, purchasing candies and selling them at a double margin. But he also engaged in other activities in the neighborhood like lawn mowing, flower watering, and any other task that could earn him any additional income. The primary drive behind Nipsey's industrious efforts was his desire to afford new clothes for school without financially straining his parents, who were already facing financial challenges.
He sold candy, shine shoes, cut grass, water lawns, man, everything. We used to want to go swimming. At the pool, it cost $1 to go swimming. And I used to be a mission to get $1, like to put it together. You know what I mean? And we had asked the lady to help her take her groceries in, give us a quarter or something like that, you know what I mean? Or whatever we could do. But
while his entrepreneurial spirit flourished, Nipsey's passion for music remained as a constant undercurrent. At 11 years old, during his 6th grade year, he linked up with another kid named Jermaine Jenkins, who was the unique possessor of a computer in their neighborhood, which back then was a rare thing for somebody to have. Together, they invested in a microphone, marking the inception of Nipsey's musical journey as he recorded his first song. The first beat that he ever rapped on was borrowed from another rapper out of the area that I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with, which is Snoop Dogg, and Nipsey jumped on his album title track, The Dogfather, signifying a memorable and vital stepping stone in Nipsey's path to musical exploration.
Homeboy Jermaine Jenkins used to live on 60th Street across the street from me. His mom, Miss Juliana Jenkins, used to take us to school every morning. We was young, like elementary. Yeah, you know, he had a computer in his house. Back then, I was big to have a computer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, we found out how to record over instrumentals.
Do you remember like
something like this, like plugged into the computer, and we used to just rap over old Snoop Dogg instrumentals? My first one was the Dogfather introduction.
Oh, okay.
The intro off the Dogfather album. But nah, that was the first record we the first time I heard myself on a beat was on the Dogfather.
Nipsey was indeed a person of remarkable resourcefulness. His grandfather gifted him and his brother Black Sam a computer which, unfortunately, they ended up damaging. The financial constraints of their family prevented them from purchasing a new one, but his grandfather introduced an inventive workaround. Instead of a new computer, he provided Nipsey with a wealth of computer-related books and magazines. Embracing this opportunity, Nipsey plunged into the world of computers, meticulously studying these books, and the whole time, gaining a thorough understanding of various computer parts and their functionalities. In time, he began procuring computer components independently and assembled a whole new computer at home. This endeavor, driven by his newfound knowledge and sheer determination, resulted in a successful construction of his own computer, exemplifying Nipsey's resourcefulness, resilience, and self-reliance.
Nip built our first computer. My grandfather really bought our first computer. We ended up breaking it, throwing it away. And then as we got older, when we wanted a computer, Nip would come home from school with a backpack full of computer parts. And we shared a room, and, you know, we shared bunk beds. You know, I was a little older, OCD. I used to, you know, hey, we cleaning up today. He would get pissed off. Like, you ain't going nowhere, you helping me clean the room. And he brought these computer parts, and I'm like, man, we can't keep these in this room. He like, nah, I'm gonna build a computer. Like, man, if you don't get out of here, man, he's like 12 years old. I'm like, man, a computer back then to me was like rocket scientist. So I'm like, there's no way, get this out of here. He came back the next day with another piece of a computer. Came back, it took him about a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we just had all computer parts, loose parts on the floor. And he went to a computer auction and bought a case and bought a power supply. And I came home one day, he had the magazine that my grandfather had bought, computer magazines, and he had the computer and it was working, and he turned it on, and I could not believe this.
At the age of 12, his mother noticed Nipsey's budding musical talent as he devoted his time to writing and recording music. Observing his potential, she recommended him to an educational program that was in Los Angeles. This program offered many studios for participants to learn about studio equipment and things like that. Within this setting, he learned about every aspect of recording music, selecting the appropriate amps, understanding the right equipment and speakers, choosing the best microphones, and so forth.
My mom, just knowing I had a passion, she found this community center at the Watts Towers and was like, you know, they offer a class once a week. It's like electronic music. I used to catch the bus to the train and go to the Watts Towers on Saturday. and just learn. It was like a classical composer.
Yeah.
He taught us how to use an MPC, which is the beat machine,
Yeah.
a 16-track recorder. That was my first exposure to production.
The program he participated in equipped him with the skills to create beats and master his own music. Such courses shaped Nipsey's initial journey, setting him on a path to become a music producer rather than a rapper at the beginning. His talent was first utilized in producing tracks for his friend, Cuzzy Capone, who later became a signee to Nipsey's record label, All Money In.
That's a real fact. I used to make beats primarily. Like I used to make beats for Cuzzy. I don't know if anybody.
Cuzzy?
Yeah, Cuzzy Capone. He another artist from LA, from our area. That's crazy. But we grew up in the same studio together and all that. And I used to be the producer and worked on his album as a producer, like with an MPC and with a Trinity Rack and all that.
Despite Nipsey Hussle's numerous early entrepreneurial ventures, he struggled to raise sufficient funds to purchase essential recording equipment for himself, which back then would cost considerably more than it would if you was to try to start one with today's money. This led to a 13-year-old Nipsey to seek alternative means, which unfortunately steered him towards getting involved in gangs. He found himself drawn to the street life and eventually joined the Rolling 60s Crips, which is a prominent gang within the Crenshaw district, sparking a sense of hope and enabling him to accumulate the funds necessary to invest in a recording studio and its accompanying equipment, a means to an end, if you will. This marked the start of Nipsey's journey to creating his own music all by himself. By the time he turned 14 years old, he entered high school, and Nipsey chose at this time to discontinue his formal education due to poor academic performance. Yet, his potential was evident to a discerning teacher who challenged him to strive for better grades. Heeding his advice, Nipsey committed to one more semester, achieving impressive grades, predominantly A's and B's, in honors of his educator's faith in him. After this academic resurgence, he made the final decision to drop out though.
First class flight, looking at the clouds, hoping that my niggas up in heaven looking down. Hoping what I'm doing truly make my mama proud, cause for a very long time I was the reason for her frowns. Chrome Alpinas, high school senior, I was never one of those. I sold zones out the Regal.
I did go to high school for 9th and 10th grade, and I was very capable, you know what I mean? But I wasn't focused on academics. Mm-hmm. I remember, you know, I had F's and D's every semester except 1 year. And one of my English teachers was like, bro, you smart, like, you know what I'm saying, what you doing? And I just did all my homework and focused for one semester and got like 5 A's, 2 B's. Just cause I peeped game and he was interested in my well-being and he was sincere. So I was like, I'm gonna meet you halfway, and I did real well, and then I stopped going to school.
After Nipsey left school, he decided to prioritize hustling and developing his music. The decision did not sit well with his mother. Upon learning that he had quit school and was immersing himself into the street life, she altered the locks on the door, effectively shutting him out of her home. She was also anxious about his possession of firearms and drugs and things like that, further straining their relationship. Consequently, Nipsey was forced to seek alternative housing, ultimately settling with his grandmother in an even less privileged neighborhood than before.
9th grade, about 15, I stopped going to school and all that. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I was on some other thinking I'm grown, starting to get a little money, grinding and all that, selling my little weed. Mom's like, you know what I'm saying? She knew what time it was. So if I bring a gun in the house, she understood.
With no parental oversight, Nipsey ventured deeper into the street lifestyle. Although he frequented the streets, he managed to avoid becoming too deeply entangled with the notorious Rolling 60s Crips though. During this phase, he refrained from any gang-related activities, instead focusing on selling whatever goods he could to maintain financial stability for himself. His older brother, Black Sam, was also forced to hustle on the streets at this time. Nipsey recounts an incident when at the age of 15, Black Sam had stashed away nearly $250,000 in their backyard. However, when they dug it up, more than half of it had molded, causing a loss of well over $100,000 for him.
My brother, when I was probably like 15, he might have been 18. He buried $250,000 in my mom's backyard on 60th Street. And then we dug it up a year later, and half of it was molded. And it was like lumps of money stuck together and like mildew. My mom, my little sister, myself, my brother, we had the whole $250 across the living room floor, the kitchen table, and we was all blow drying the money, trying to like dry it up so we could peel it out without it like ripping.
Put it in like an airtight, fireproof safe, wrapped it in plastic. You thinking it's gonna survive.
Right.
He left it down there for like a year probably. And then when he dug it up, you know,
I guess, the moisture of the earth.
Really, it got in there?
Yeah, and it molded the money.
Oh,
you know
my
what I'm saying? So like
gosh.
100 bands out of that 250 was molded. Destroyed. Yeah, and you know, that's a hard loss when you're young. He was a teenager. My mom was in there. We had the blow dryer out, all the money on the living room table, trying to dry the money.
What makes your mom say?
Despite his life on the streets, Nipsey never lost sight of his deep-rooted passion for music. He had two close friends, one named Grandpa and the other named J Stone, who were equally committed to their musical endeavors. Initially, Nipsey and Grandpa would record their music at the Watts Towers, but they eventually gathered enough resources to buy up some studio equipment and began recording at Grandpa's house.
Central location for the movement. We're just gonna show you where a lot of the ideas was inspired. Yeah, get the walls. Nah, you know what I'm saying? We used to have the studio set up here, you know what I mean? And just motivation on the wall, you know what I mean? We brainstorm, round table. A lot of times if we ain't at the studio, we ain't at the shop, we come on Madden, you know what I'm saying? You gotta all money in, you know, stay focused. Quitting is not an option. 6 O's make $1 million. Big money only. You don't talk about it, be about it. You know what I mean? How hard are you really going? Different things that you wake up to, you know what I mean? When you're on this marathon.
In the early days, Nipsey adopted the rap name concept, focusing on creating conscious rap. Eventually, Grandpa, Nipsey, and a then unknown artist, who some of y'all might know today as Kid Ink, formed a rap group called Stranded Minds.
I met Nipsey when I was like 15, Hamilton High School, 9th grade, and he used to sell CDs at school. It was me, Ermias, Nipsey, my bro Evan, who was going by Grandpa, my bro Oliver, who was Ed Wright at the time, my bro Greg, I don't remember what name Greg had at the time, and we was going to Watts, catching like 2 buses in the train, go to Watts, and learning how to use just all this music equipment from this old head guy who just had like this program set up where he bought all these MPCs and keyboards and turntables and just different stuff and was letting us use it like for an hour. So we'd literally go up there for an hour, use the stuff, then take a bunch of trains back home. All that stuff we learned from there and all the equipment we ended up just buying and taking it to my boy house, Evan, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, just where we all hung out. And you know what I'm saying? I didn't live over there. I lived more mid-city area and in between, or Los Angeles, whatever, or West LA area. But, you know, I was there. Those were all my homies. So I was just always going back and forth.
Nip's original rap name was Concept. We used to be in a group called with my boy Oliver, Ed Wright. It was Ed Wright, and it was Kid Ink was part of it, I think, and my boy Greg. We was in a group, and it was called Stranded Minds. And we used to perform at the Malcolm X Festival in Lamert Park. Nip used to be on some real conscious. We used to all be on that. You know what I'm saying? We used to all be on that. We used to all study that.
By the years 2001 and 2002, Nipsey was around 16 or 17 years old. During this period, he became more deeply engaged in the local scene, an involvement which, surprisingly, became beneficial for him in the long run. The experience opened up doors for him to meet influential individuals who would later play key roles in his musical journey. Amongst the first people he connected with was Rollo Styles, a talented engineer and music producer. Alongside Nipsey Hussle, Grandpa, and J Stone, they began the exciting process of creating and recording music together.
Gutter land, we all hustling for that upper land, where we raised by our mothers and no other man. Through the shades, granny watching, she don't understand, but through the days found a plot to end that hunger, man. And through the days, coppers watching undercover bands. Mama at work for the man while I assert my plan. The Glock 40 or the Nina, I serve like Serena and concrete. Urban arenas, Cali got a hold on us. It's like my soul is controlled by demons and gold, and like my feeling from my foe can't tell my friend from my foe.
Nipsey's life also led him to Cuzzy Capone, and they quickly became firm friends. The pair shared a common aspiration to make their mark in the music world. Cuzzy Capone introduced Nipsey to a man named Dexter Brown, a professional photographer who possessed musical equipment but lacked the technical know-how to operate it. Now, remembering that Nipsey, Grandpa, and Rollo was proficient with such equipment, Cuzzy decided to bring them all together at Dexter's place. Dexter Brown warmly received the music group, and this is where their fever for music recording truly took off. While navigating the streets, Nipsey met another character named Baby Gooch. Baby Gooch would join them in the studio, and during one of their sessions, Nipsey mentioned his desire for a unique rapper name. This set Baby Gooch's mind ticking, and one day, when Nipsey came back to the studio carrying a backpack brimming with items from his hustling ventures, it suddenly clicked for Baby Gooch.
One day we was in here, we knew, it was getting kind of hectic because we was making a lot of songs, so we knew we was finna start embarking on something, so he's like, I gotta put a stamp on my name. I just can't go by my government, just can't go by E, so I was like, all right, I got you, man. We're gonna just put it in the air, we're gonna sit back and let it come. And then one day it just came to me, Nipsey Hussle. I don't know how it came, it just like a light bulb popped off. I was like, yeah, that's it. I knew when I first came to it, I was like, that's the name for you. Oh no, yeah, because when we first was talking about it, it didn't happen right away. When I said I'm gonna come up with a name, he left. He left and he went and did his thing. And he, like 2 or 3 days later, the nigga just said he got his grind on, basically. You know what I mean? He came back, he had some money, he had a car, and I don't know if it was just divine intervention or what, but it just hit me. I'm like, Nipsey Hussle.
Shout out to my homeboy, Baby Gooch. You know what I'm saying? He that was inspired by him. I can't take no credit for my nickname, and that was my homeboy just threw it at me. I like how it sounded, and I decided to run with it. I more, identified with the hustle part, but then I did my research, found out who Nipsey Hussle was.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Comedian, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just a genius, on a lot of fronts.
That was the moment Nipsey earned his distinct moniker, Nipsey Hussle. Despite his growing involvement in music, Nipsey found himself increasingly drawn into the local street culture, ultimately becoming a member of the Rolling 60s gang like we said earlier. His mentor in navigating this lifestyle was Cuzzy Capone, who taught him the complex ropes of gang life. Nipsey's street activities, which included numerous fights and occasional shootouts, he said, earned him a reputation on the streets, paralleling the growing recognition of his music. In 2003, Lil Kev Matt, also known as Cowboy or Big Thundercat, was released from prison. At the time, he was making a name for himself and was using the moniker Kev Matt. Given their shared interest in music, it was only natural that Nipsey was drawn to be friends with him.
Me and my girl was giving a party up in the hills. I was on parole at the time. Police surrounded the whole building. So I tell all the homies, like, look, if you on parole or probation, we about to open the door, it's time to go. You got to run with me, because we about to go. All the ones that was on probation, parole, or whatever, we crack the door and we break up out of there. By like 4 little homies, they break with me. They get up out of there. The next day, all the little homies came to my house, so they wanted to get some names. All the homies that ran, they got away from the police that night. They wanted to get names. So, I gave them the name. I told them how the hood go. Tell them, it ain't all what it look like. You know what I mean? So like I said, talked to him for a couple days, laced him on the hood, how the hood go, gave him the rules, the regulations. Cuz one day I got put on, squabbled up.
I ain't make my name up. I was given my name, and I like how it sounded, so I took it. The hustle part is the part I brought to you. Nipsey was somebody's name before. Yeah. But the hustle part, the part I think they threw that name at me for. Just because we was in the studio, I was like 15. We used to have a studio in the hood. And it was full of grown-ups. Everybody was grown. And, we was just in there for 3 or 4 weeks, not leaving. So everybody's pockets kind of fell short. We was all like getting how we live at that time. Right. When I left for a couple hours, came back, we had an ounce of weed, 2 bottles of champagne, and a bucket of chicken. And, just laughed at that and threw that at me like, look at this little. That's from Nipsey Hussle. Yeah, that's what I found out later. Obviously, I didn't know dude. I didn't know the comedian because he was from a different era. Right. But my homeboy, Baby Gooch, that was just a name that had a ring, I guess. And so he threw it. It was like a joke. He said it like in a laughing way. But I just like how it sounded. Man. You know what I'm saying?
Despite his deeper immersion into the street life, Nipsey remained steadfastly committed to his musical aspirations. In 2003, he released his very first mixtape, intriguingly titled, Fuck the Middleman. However, this mixtape has seemingly vanished from the online sphere. You won't find its cover art, track list, or any of the songs that were on it anywhere online. According to Nipsey, he took a grassroots approach to distributing this debut work. He sold copies straight from the trunk of his 85 Cutlass, driving around and personally delivering the music to the streets himself.
Man, me and my homeboy J Stone, we had some mixtapes local in our hood, and his was called The Grind Don't Stop. Mine was called F the Middleman. Mm-hmm. And it was like early, like 03. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we was doing like concerts on the block on 10th Ave and 63rd. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Performing, and we just had like a real local, small group of people that I was feeling what we was doing.
You feel me? Slossing is where I'm at. You can find me.
The middleman? Okay, really, that's like summing up our whole movement we getting started right here. Cause like, you know, we going without all these traditional routes of how to get on as far as the record industry, you feel me? And we just taking it into our own hands and smashing how we do on the streets. Just switching up the format and really transcending and taking it to the next level, you feel me? So the middleman really just symbolizes our struggle. Like, you know, we doing it without their help. Right. We coming straight out the trunk with it. You know, we gonna go straight to the top with it, just like that. So we got a hell of a buzz. We cracking pull up on you back and shit. And spit the whole verse to you, just like that.
Yeah. Hey, nigga, you got a buzz. I just fucked up on you, just like you said.
Yeah, for sure. And it happened every time, man. Hey, look, I'm finna give you like 16 bars. I got a question. Have you ever felt this feeling of paranoia from killing? Knowing your days numbered and your freedom ain't a given? When the bodies get dropped, cuz the Johnnies is hot. That's when he slop make their first mistake and get caught. Facing football numbers that have him show his true colors. Pride reduced to nothing, got him crying for his mother. I spit that that make a think twice, cause I got too many homies in the county facing.
Around late 2003 to early 2004, Nipsey crossed paths with an individual named Bear Claw, a notable figure in the Rolling 60s game. Bear Claw had a unique ability to gather local artists under one roof, a place known as Claustrophobic Studios. This hub became a breeding ground for musical collaboration in the area, leading to the creation of a collective project titled the Crenshaw District Claustrophobic Mixtape. This mixtape, representing the joint efforts of these local talents, featured a catchy track called Smoking on That La La La. This song notably included a feature from a young Nipsey Hussle, showcasing his rising presence in the music scene.
See, stay puffin' the la la la. I'm from the hood, bitches scream when I'm riding by. Nipsey always smoking that la la la. To keep my brain maintained through drama, I'm not the one. We jacking for beats on back streets with aluminum bats, toe tag the PD. That's any jurisdiction in or out the district. 7-7 division of crime scene forensic. My mind blur the vision of material witness. From 2020 to blind, now they need prescription. Cut the lights off and twist up a sack. Cause the feds watching the hood, you get all that. From the birds to the squads to the cameras in the back of the routes by the field where I handle the pack.
While at Claustrophobic Studios, Nipsey encountered another individual named Tiny Draws. This meeting proved significant, as Tiny Draws would later introduce Nipsey to a man named Big U. Meanwhile, Nipsey, Grandpa, and several other artists at the studio joined forces to form a group called Hood Unit. Now, they took inspiration from the popular G Unit of the time, which was headed by 50 Cent, and they managed to release 3 mixtapes collectively while they were in this group. However, the group would eventually disband. In the summer of 2004, Nipsey Hussle, then just 18 years old, journeyed to Eritrea, which is located in Africa and is the native land of his father. This trip proved enlightening for Nipsey. He gleaned invaluable insights about his cultural heritage and the unique ways of life in Eritrea. Moreover, witnessing the stark economic disparities there inspired Nipsey to pursue philanthropy in a way. He spent 3 enriching months in Eritrea alongside his brother Black Sam and even some of his other family members. He even celebrated his 19th birthday in the homeland of his ancestors.
We visited East Africa, Eritrea, and that's the country my father was born in, and where all his family and my family drew him as a my aunties, my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, my cousins and everything.
Hello.
Slow. Friday, what is this? Good. Yeah, me, you feeling better?
Yeah, easy. I'm blessed, man. Sure.
Yeah. Top notch. The truth in the making. Easy. It's flowing nice too. What's up, Dad? Where we at, man? It's fun.
I always identified with American culture until I went back out there. Like, I always consider myself African through heritage, but, you know what I'm saying, in my mind, I was an American. Like, you know, I'm from LA, and I identify with the culture and the whole entire existence in America. Like, you know, I was a part of it. I still am, but, like, I claimed that in my mind. But then when I went home, I seen, like, that this American, as far as you know, how we live out here ain't really, it's really supposed to be built on relationships, you know what I'm saying? Family and shit. That's what the main focus is once you go back home. It's not really you ain't really caught up in your cell phone ringing, you about to hit a club. You might hit a club, though, I ain't gonna say that because it's a nightlife, but, you know, it's just not so preoccupied with material.
Upon returning from Eritrea, Nipsey dove straight back into music. He promptly headed to Dexter Brown's studio, where he, Cuzzy Capone, and Baby Gooch collectively came up with the name Slauson Boys for their new rap group they were making. Concurrently, Nipsey decided to establish a record label of his own, which he also planned to call Slauson Boys. Between late 2004 and early 2005, he began laying the groundwork for the label, filing out paperwork, filing LLCs, and securing trademarks. Throughout this period, he still maintained his street persona though. However, a pivotal incident occurred that reshaped his perspective and affirmed his decision to commit entirely to music, leaving the streets behind. This defining moment involved a shootout his companions were all involved in, a scenario that was all captured on CCTV. Those that were identified in the footage ended up serving considerable time in jail, but miraculously, Nipsey's identity was never discernible in the footage, and the police never arrested him, allowing him to avoid the repercussions. This brush-in with the law served as a wake-up call for Nipsey, he said. He realized that remaining involved in gang activities could result in a grim fate for him, much like his friends, either locked up behind bars or losing his life altogether. The stark revelation led him to make the firm decision to distance himself completely from the street lifestyle and focus solely on his music career.
I had some situations in my life that you know, you get wake-up calls, you know what I mean? You go through close calls and things where you get kind of close to feeling like you gonna throw your stuff away, excuse me. Your freedom, you know, your life, your opportunity, you know what I mean? And you come out them situations somehow and be like, well, I don't like how that felt. You know, when you looking at it, when you got your feet on in them shoes, it's different than being aware of what could happen and being in a situation where it's happening. You know what I mean? Like, you in jail, you ain't got no bail. Not that you don't got the bail money, you just don't got bail because of your case. And if you don't beat your case, you about to go on that long road. And then you end up beating it, you know what I mean? Or you be in tight situations where everybody you was around end up washed up or, you know, dead, you know what I mean? Seeing death up close, people you was just with, you know what I mean? Places you just was on your way to. And, you know, reality kick in after a while. And you gonna lay in the bed you make. So I knew that wasn't what I wanted as far as a final destination.
Right.
So I just started taking steps toward what I was passionate about, which was the music.
Right.
And then doors start opening. I start seeing the results of them steps. And I just followed the positivity. I remember, you know what I mean, just putting everything to the back burner and just going full-fledged into hustling and banging. And then years of doing that gave me a little seniority and gave me a little confidence over the gang or whatever. And I start realizing that, you know, all this shit I'm doing, risking my freedom, you know, fighting, getting in shootouts, the whole shit, that if I redirect that stance toward defending what I believe in truly, which was like to pursue the music, that at least it'll be a higher cause.
By the age of 19, Nipsey realized he had experienced the peak of his teenage years. He had acquired the cars and the admiration that he desired, yet he yearned for more. His true passion laid in music, and he decided to invest into it wholeheartedly. In pursuit of this, he sold his cherished white Lincoln to a friend who was eager to buy it. Nipsey explained his actions to his brother Black Sam, sharing his plans for the money he gained from selling the car. His aspiration was to use this capital to establish his own recording studio, a concrete step towards his musical dreams. Black Sam, understanding and supportive of his brother's vision, decided to contribute, agreeing to split the cost. Together, they invested a substantial amount of money into high-quality studio equipment, marking the beginning of their ambitious musical journey.
To have a Lincoln, when I was 19, I had a white Lincoln on Alpinas, you know what I'm saying? And that was like a famous LA car. You know, that white Lincoln on Alpinas, I was, you know, through LA and you knew that car. So everybody would try to buy it. All the I was having work and having weed was trying to buy that car. And I was the only who with Alpinas in LA, and my homeboy Hump had the Alpinas on his Monte Carlo. Everybody used to try to buy that car from me. And I was getting girls, I was turned up. So I'm like, I ain't selling this car. This is my look right now. I'm winning in this car.
Batmobile.
Yeah. And you know, I had just reached a level in my grind where I'm like, I was sitting in that parking lot leaning on my Lincoln, and I'm like, yeah, man, you know, I had reached my little adolescent dream that I had for myself, you know? Like, damn, I'm right here. You know, I'm at that level that I was trying to get at as far as just being a teenager, how I saw myself, I was there. And I'm like, you know, I could either go to my next level with this, and that was to like fully pursue what I had my hands in at that time. Or I could with what I've been having an itch to do, which was the music. And I called D-Mac. D-Mac was been trying to buy the car from me. He like, man, I'm like, you still want this car, bro? He like, yup. He pulled up right here in the lowrider with a Rouse bag with racks in it and gave me the cash. I gave him the key. And then I went to, I hit my brother like, I'm about to go buy some equipment. And he like, how much you got? And I told him when I got, he like, all right, I'm gonna match you, I'm gonna meet you up there. So, you know, the amount I had, he put that with me and we just bought all the equipment and I was rapping since then.
One of the smartest hustles you've done in your life? One of the best flips?
Buying studio equipment, selling, leaving my spot. I had a spot, I was 18 and I was hustling out of a spot. I had a car, I had these Alpinas on my car. Everybody in LA was trying to get these rims from me. All the I was hustling was like, cause that was BMW rim. You ever see the Alpina BMW? Turning into a Connect a little bit, and I'm like 18, and I was like, I'm about to go head first into the game, or I'm about to fuck with this music, cause I got a couple dollars I can invest. And I talk about it on the record, on the album called Loaded Bases.
Was sitting on my link and I start thinking, nigga ain't gonna make 100 mil off in these streets. More than likely I'm gonna end up in somebody precinct. Even worse, horse and carriage front to church, laid off in the hearse, I dealt with it. I ain't just out here for my health with it. I weighed the risk and the reward to sink the scale tipping.
You know, I was sitting on my link and I started thinking, I'm talking about that car. And basically I hit one of my boys, D-Mac, who been asking me about the car. And I'm like, man, we still wanna buy? He like, yep. I'm like, you ready right now? He pulled up on me with a bag of money, sold him the car, went to the Guitar Center, bought my equipment. And I was a rapper after that.
During this period, Black Sam was making a substantial income from selling bootleg movies and DVDs illegally on the streets. The money from this business, combined with the funds from selling the Lincoln, gave Nipsey the necessary resources to establish his own studio. In this personal recording space, Nipsey was able to create his Slauson Boys Volume 1 mixtape throughout the year. This body of work was officially released on December 13th, 2005, and Nipsey handed out copies of the mixtape to his friends, asking them to distribute it out on the streets for him. His sales pitch was disarmingly straightforward. If people didn't like the music, they could simply toss it out the window. He was confident in the quality of his work and eager to share his music with the broader audience.
That was my sales pitch. I'd be on Crenshaw and Slauson in front of the Master Burger. I just thought it was so many people that was, oh, check my CD out, buy my music. Yeah. I wanted to distinguish myself. So I'm like, if it's whack, throw it out the window. I'm gonna sit right here. And a lot of times they'll be like, just cause I said that, like, man, let me check that out, huh?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was my sales pitch, you know?
Nipsey's popularity gradually began to pick up once more. Around this time, Big U was released from prison, expressing his intention to venture into the music industry and scout for talented artists. Thanks to Tiny Draws, Big U was introduced to Nipsey's music. Liking what he heard, Big U decided to manage Nipsey's career. Big U was well acquainted with Steve Lobel, another influential figure in the music industry who was on the lookout for the next big artist too. After Big U shared the Slauson Boys mixtape with him, Steve was impressed by the project. He immediately wanted to connect with Nipsey to discuss a potential record deal. Steve Lobel thus joined forces with Big U, co-managing Nipsey. The joint efforts of Big U and Steve Lobel yielded Nipsey's first mainstream breakthrough in 2006. He was featured on the posthumous album of Tupac Shakur, Pac's Life, and Nipsey's talent shown on a track number 7 that was titled International, marking a significant milestone in his burgeoning career.
Him and Big Draws put that together, and LT Hutton. Yeah, and that was basically, I think LT was like the main producer on the album, and he put.
Who did the Pac movie too, right?
Yeah, exactly. He got a good relationship with their family, and so basically, he just was like, I know Nip grinding. I didn't really have a resume at that time to justify it, but he gave me a shot, and a lot of that was based on the relationship he had with Draws and Steve. But then a lot of that also, he was just, you know, seeing us grinding and was just being a real
giving me a shot.
In 2006, everything seemed to be progressing smoothly for Nipsey. However, on November 17th of the same year, his trajectory drastically shifted. On that particular day, his world was turned upside down when the home of Black Sam, where all of Nipsey's recording equipment was housed, was raided by the police. The authorities confiscated all the items in the house, and this included Nipsey's valuable studio equipment. This raid took place because Black Sam, like I said, had been distributing illegal DVDs all over the streets. Over time, the police managed to identify Black Sam as the culprit and proceeded to take action. They not only seized everything that Black Sam owned though, including his BMW, but they also arrested him. Following this incident, Nipsey Hussle began to face his own legal repercussions stemming from the raid.
You know, the police raided the studio and took all the equipment and put a gun on me that was in the house, a shotgun. It was a registered shotgun, but I was on probation for a gun. So, you know, the probation says you can't be around no guns at all. So they booked me for the gun, took all my equipment, and I was really just in the house working. You know what I mean? Just like, they don't know that. Nobody know how pure you are but you. And I was really pure at that time. I wasn't doing nothing but music. And I'm like, damn, you know, like I was confused. Like, where does the good karma pay off at? You know what I mean? Where does this shit come back around at? Because I was real committed. My money got short. That ain't stopped me. You know, like I said, how I was being viewed changed. People kind of like act like I fell off a little bit, and I still stayed committed. And then on top of all that, I got raided and they took all my equipment, and they put a new case on me. I was just confused about it. And I remember like questioning everything, like, damn, I don't really have no part of the game that braced me for that. I don't have no mantras that I remember hearing or nothing I grew up around. I ain't had no answer for that one. But, you know, it kind of discouraged me for a long time. But I had accumulated so much music. But from when I got raided, I stopped really recording every day and got back into hustling full time because I got to fight a case now and I need a lawyer and I can't even really afford to sit in the studio like that.
Fortunately for Nipsey, prior to the police raid, he had spent a considerable amount of time in the studio and recorded a significant body of work. This body of work would ultimately secure him a record deal, shining a ray of hope in an otherwise bleak situation. Despite the setback, Nipsey remained dedicated to his craft, continuing to promote his music even though he had grown weary of the recording process. One day, while relaxing in his neighborhood, a chance encounter with a well-known rapper, The Game, gave him an unexpected opportunity. The Game had stopped at a red light on Nipsey's block, and seizing the moment, Nipsey approached him and handed him his demo tape. The Game was impressed with his work, and he immediately reached out to Nipsey for a collaborative project. The fortuitous meeting further validated Nipsey's talent and underscored his potential in the music industry.
I had a white Range Rover. I'm 28. At this time, like, I'm Doctor's Advocate is out. I'm 2 albums in. I'm not going nowhere. I want to get off the freeway, see some, smoke some weed, maybe find a problem. I got a Glock on my lap, maybe. If is tripping, I want my whole LA hip hop rapper experience. So I would get off on Crenshaw, take Crenshaw all the way down to Wilshire, make a left on Wilshire, make a right on La Cienega, make a right on Melrose just to go get my car wash at the car wash, back where I sold my CDs to get at even more and show off this Range Rover. So this day, it was my point to not get stopped at any red lights and Crip hoods while I was rolling at all. So it was like a Honda Civic and a fucking gray like Harley truck in front of me, and these did not go through this yellow, bro. They stopped, like, just keep on going. So I'm like, why does it stop? I couldn't go around because there was a car coming up from the back. So I'm stuck at this light. Who on the corner? 1560s Crips. I don't with these scenarios. This is what I did not want to happen. And this, you want to ride through LA and you want to just coast through smooth with no problems. 15 young Crips on the corner and these crossing the street. For what reason, God, I don't even know, but they're coming straight at my car. From crossing the crosswalk, this is my car. From crossing the crosswalk that goes this way, I'm right here behind 2 other cars, and turned. And then when they turned, they started getting close, and right when Nip got right where you are, he whipped out a CD. I was like, oh my. He was like, hey, cuz, my name Nip, and we the Slauson Boys. Almost like if I met Run DMC. You could really see in these 3, it was Ren Paul, Jay Stone, and Nipsey. And you could see in his eyes that they really thought they was the. You could see the confidence in Nip. I took the CD and then he was like, a real one, cuz. I put the CD in my car, and then I called him. I was like, yo, Nip, you got a number on here? He was like, it's on the back, cuz. Confidence, though. Not like, you know.
Right, not being
like, no, he just turned around. He didn't even come back to the car. He turned around. He's like, it's on the back, cuz. I was like, it is on the back, cuz. So I took the CD, I put it in, and I'm like, man, this sound like a breath, like a fucking lyrical, like Snoop. I took the CD, and later on that night, I called the number. I'm like, you know, come to the studio. Wack brought him to the studio with Big U and Steve Lobel.
His music also piqued the interest of a movie director named Ving Rhames, who discovered Nipsey's songs on his daughter's iPod. Subsequently, Rhames invited Nipsey to star in the Bone Thugs and Harmony movie, I Tried. This marked Nipsey's debut in a film, which, after watching Snoop Dogg come from basically the same place he's from and make it in the film industry, was a medium that Nipsey was considering seriously. That, plus he was starting to grow disillusioned with the music industry and his lack of success at the time. However, while on the movie set, another fortuitous encounter led Nipsey right back to music. A man named Johnny Shipes, the owner of Cinematic Music Group and recent signee of a record deal with Sony and Epic Records, was scouting for promising talent in the West Coast area. He contacted DJ Felly Fell, who recommended Nipsey Hussle. Shipes, intrigued, listened to Nipsey's song Bullets Ain't Got No Name on MySpace and decided that he was gonna fly out to Los Angeles where Nipsey was shooting the movie so that he could talk with him.
And he was like, well, there's this kid Nipsey Hussle, but he's a real street dude. I don't know if you're gonna wanna, he's in the mix out there. So I flew home, and then that night I just went on MySpace. Yep, I just dated myself. And I looked him up, and he had like one song on there, this song called Bullets Ain't Got No Names. And I was like, yo, this is incredible.
Despite Nipsey's known gang affiliations, which had deterred other labels in the past, Shipes saw potential and wanted to sign Nipsey almost immediately.
If anything, you know what I'm saying, I'm from the hood, no question, I'm from the 60s, but if anything, that hurted me with the industry more than it helped me, if you know what I'm saying. It hurt me, because a lot of companies in LA had a sour taste in their mouth with them other sugar.
Right, which is real.
When it was street involved in the industry in the 90s and all that, the West Coast labels got a sour taste in their mouth. And I seen that firsthand, because the same music I brought to Epic, I brought to Def Jam, I brought to Interscope, I brought to Capitol, you know what I'm saying? And not to say they wasn't excited when they was always excited and ready to push buttons when we left the meeting, but they kind of found out they could make a few phone calls. He from 60, he f***ing me so-and-so. Instead of really like chopping it with me and seeing what my vision was and kind of like filling it out first.
Nipsey, along with Big U and Steve LaBelle, agreed to partner with Shipes and Cinematic Music Group. However, they still needed to solidify a deal with Sony and Epic Records. As negotiations were ongoing, Nipsey faced another complication, this time stemming from a street incident. At a party, Nipsey and his friends were mingling with a girl who was, unbeknownst to them at the time, underage. When her parents discovered her absconding from them, she concited a story to avoid admitting that she had skipped school in order to spend time with the group of men. Unfortunately, her cover-up involved accusing Nipsey and his friends of some very serious crimes.
They charged me with some bogus charges, homie. You know what I'm saying? The spot got raided. It was pictures of us on you know what I'm saying, on a photo camera with a burner, tucking the hood up with a female that come to find out was an underage female. You know what I'm saying? That had a thong going. I was making suggested that was in positions that looked like she was doing something. You know what I'm saying? And just came with some trumped up charges because she ain't want to admit to her mom that she was a flick. You feel me? I'm hood, but I didn't do nothing with the girl, nothing. She was just at a function full of homies that she wasn't supposed to be at. And the pictures got out and she ain't want to just fess up to her mama that she did school and did work to come hang out with some homies. And that turned into a real case for us, some hood.
How long you had to sit on the shelf?
I mean, I beat my case in 2 months. I was in county jail for like damn near 50 days. So I beat my case by my second court date, you feel me?
While on the run, Nipsey urged Big U to expedite the deal with Sony, abandoning the back and forth negotiation process the artist would normally go through. Once Big U managed to seal the agreement, Nipsey suddenly had the financial resources to counter the accusations leveled against him. Although he didn't face any significant jail time for this, the ordeal served as a minor setback in his career trajectory at the time.
It'd be sick that they let you go.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? That's they lost though. You feel me?
Nip Hussle in the Epic building, about to go sign his deal.
Nah, man.
Robin Hood the Hoodster, only right that he's with us as the deal goes down. Yeah, dig? Blow the horns. Nip Hussle is in the building.
Yeah. What's up, man? What's up, Alex?
Nevertheless, in November of 2007, Nipsey put the incident behind him, showed up at Epic Records, and officially signed his contract. The pivotal song that earned Neighborhood Nip a recording contract with Sony and Epic Records was Bullets Ain't Got No Name. This catchy tune not only became his signature track, but also inspired the title for his inaugural mixtape, which was crafted masterfully by none other than Kid Ink. Prior to his studio's unfortunate raid, Nipsey had accumulated a wealth of music, which he wisely consolidated into this mixtape. After signing with the record label, he was able to bring this mixtape to a broader audience with its debut on April 14, 2008, under the title Bullets Ain't Got No Name, Volume 1. The eponymous track was released as the leading single and promoted extensively through a music video, radio airplay, and DJ events. Nipsey didn't stop there though. He created additional music videos for songs like RSC for Life, gradually gaining traction in the music industry with each release. His work eventually led to the recognition and shoutouts from big names in the West Coast scene that he had always wanted, like Snoop Dogg, with whom he collaborated with musically later in his career. November 2008 marked a significant turning point in Nipsey's life. This is where he welcomed his first child, a daughter named Imani. The same month, he released the second volume of Bullets Ain't Got No Name, called Bullets Ain't Got No Name Volume 2. This release amplified his buzz in the music scene, leading to the selection of a track from the mixtape called Hustle in the House as the first single from his debut album. And this song is actually where I discovered Nipsey at when he dropped this Hustle in the House track. If you guys haven't heard it, y'all gotta go check it out. Anyways, in the Hustle in the House music video, viewers were captivated by the Crenshaw t-shirts that were worn by many, creating a demand for the t-shirts. Nipsey's brother Black Sam, who was recently released from prison, saw an entrepreneurial opportunity. Alongside Nipsey's childhood friend Fats, they began selling these Crenshaw t-shirts, albeit not quite legally. Spotting a rental sign across the street, they seized the chance to legitimize their business. Thus was born Nipsey's clothing line, Sloths and Tees, named after the location where they started their venture. In February of 2009, Nipsey Hussle had the opportunity to be an opening act at the Games LAX tour, along with Kendrick Lamar and J-Rock. Rather than remain idle, Nipsey decided to continue creating, culminating in the release of the third installment of his Bullets Ain't Got No Name series on August 4th, 2009. His collaborations with other artists, such as a feature from Snoop Dogg and a track with Drake titled Killer, further increased his standing as a musical artist. In 2010, Nipsey faced some complications as Epic Records, the label he was signed to, experienced financial difficulties. Many of the staff members who initially supported Nipsey's music were either laid off, had been fired, or just left the company in general. Despite this, the remaining management struck a deal with Nipsey, giving him his own record label under Epic Records. This marked the birth of Nipsey Hussle's All Money In Records. Further cementing his status in the industry, Nipsey graced the cover of the XXL magazine's freshman edition in April of 2010, alongside other notable artists like J. Cole, Big Sean, and Wiz Khalifa. Empowered by his own record label and recognition from XXL, he announced an intended release date for his debut album on October 19, 2010. The first single from this album, Feeling Myself, featuring Lloyd, was released on April 19, 2010 and was played regularly on radio stations and on BET. However, the track did not meet expectations, only peaking at number 93 on the US Hot R&B and Hip Hop song charts. While working on his music, Nipsey also ventured into acting, landing a role in the film Wrath of Cain in late 2010. The underwhelming performance of the lead single, coupled with the disagreements on the future direction of the label, led Nipsey to make the bold decision of becoming an independent artist. After months of negotiation, and with his debut album not being released as planned, Nipsey officially parted ways with Epic Records, choosing to navigate his career on his own terms.
When it got on the radar of like the higher ups at Epic, they called me into this meeting. I'll never forget this. And it was like this woman from London who was the president at the time, and she's like, right, well, we love Nipsey. We want to put him in with all these awesome dance producers from the UK. And I was like, what? I was like, he's a street artist from LA. Like, what? You don't even know what you're talking about right now. And I was like, I'm not into it. And then Nip wasn't into it. And we just went back and forth with the label for like months. Meanwhile, I'm like, yo, let's put out an album. He's like, this was before Kendrick and everything. You know, people were really excited about what we had going on, and the label just didn't understand.
We had a shift of executives. The executive team changed. So, you know, Charlie Walk, who is on the 4 right now, the TV show with Puff and Khaled, that was the executive that signed me to Epic. You know what I mean? And the general manager, Adam Granite, he was just a dope, intelligent, you know what I mean? Like high integrity person that I f***ed with. And then even the head of A&R, Brandon Creed, wound up, you know, managing Bruno Mars early. And being involved with the early Bruno Mars shit. So it was a dope team up there. And then when they left, a new team came in. I wasn't familiar with none of the people. They didn't really know who I was. And like when executives revolve, what happens is that they don't get credit for stuff that's already signed because they didn't bring it into the building. So it's not really in their interest to focus on the stuff that's there. Right. They coming in with new energy, they want to bring new acts to the table. So I got caught in that situation. We ended up, you know, I just had a convo with the general manager, like, you know, let me, don't hold my career up, let me just start from scratch again. You know, I'm an independent-minded artist anyway.
In the midst of these career shifts, Nipsey and his group, the Slauson Boys, released their first mixtape, There Goes the Neighborhood Volume 1, on September 9th, 2010. He turned his focus back to the independent mixtape scene, marking the genesis of a new mixtape series. On December 21st, 2010, Nipsey released The Marathon, which received extraordinary reception. Now, this was the second time that Nipsey popped up on my radar, and the Marathon series is one of my favorite ever, but especially that first Marathon mixtape. I was jamming that thing day and night, and I ain't gonna lie, I think I even printed some of them up on like some blank CDs and was selling them for like $10, because that's how fire it was. I mean, I could put it on a blank CD and make money from selling it. My bad, Nipsey, I ain't mean to do that. I was still in high school when that went down. But it happened. And if y'all haven't heard the Marathon or the Marathon series, bro, y'all gotta stop the video right now and go listen to the Marathon and come back. Because the Marathon is hands down one of my favorite CDs that ever came out. Anyways, this mixtape boosted his visibility and notably debuted at number 179 on the Billboard 200 chart, marking Nipsey's first entry onto the list, and he did it independently. This positive trajectory seemed to signal that Nipsey was on a promising path. However, in March of 2011, an unfortunate incident occurred that disrupted Nipsey and his brother's plans once again. On March 18, 2011, Nipsey was linked to an officer-involved shooting in South LA following a dispute with his former manager, Big U. Although Big U denied any serious confrontation happened, police reports suggested otherwise. According to news reports, the altercation took place near an alley at the rear of a Shell gas station located at Crenshaw and Slauson in Hyde Park. This location was in close proximity to the Slauson Tees t-shirt store, essentially right in front of Nipsey's business. Eyewitness accounts reported that in the midst of the conflict, Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, drew a gun to protect his brother, firing into the air to try to defuse the situation. However, an LAPD police officer seen this happening and responded by firing at Black Sam, fortunately missing him in the process.
How many fights Fats had, my brother had, hey, we can't count. How many, you know, incidents with the police right here. Let me show you something. So, you know, if you look where Ant's standing right there, that's where my brother was standing, you know, and if you look where, let me show you, standing about right here. You know, this is where the police was busting from. And police is trained shooters. Police don't miss. And you know, he busting like this in a full clip, and he didn't hit my brother at all.
According to LAPD Sergeant Ryan Lopez, nobody was hit in the incident and 5 individuals were taken into custody. At that time, no one had been formally booked, so the names of those apprehended weren't released, but it was known that Nipsey and his brother were amongst those that were detained on that Friday night. In the aftermath of the situation, Nipsey was released while his brother Black Sam stayed incarcerated. This arrest had significant implications for their business, as Black Sam was the one who was managing the Slauson Tees clothing company. With Black Sam behind bars, they lost the company since Nipsey was preoccupied with his music and acting and wasn't heavily invested in the clothing line, or at least the management of the clothing line at that time.
Originally, we had this location right here. It was called Slauson Tees. We didn't have these 2 corners of this third space. We was operating out of this space right here. You know, my brother had, you know, caught a case, went down for a few years. So we ended up losing this space. When he came home, you know, he did like 3 years with 80%. And when he came home, you know, he had a little money saved up. I had a couple dollars when he touched down. We put our bread together. And the first thing he said is, I want to get this spot again. You know, I want to get back where we was at. And at first I'm like, man, you know, we got so much going on with the music. Do you want to be right here? And he like, you know, it's important that we, you know,
keep what we had going, and also, you know, execute what we started, finish what we started.
With a renewed focus on his music, Nipsey threw himself into creating his next mixtape, meanwhile seizing every opportunity to tour, even extending his reach overseas. In time, Black Sam was released from incarceration and reunited with Nipsey. Pulling their resources together, they opted to reinvest in their clothing business. The store was relaunched at a new location under the name Slauson Ave Clothing Store, deviating from the previous Slauson Ave Tees. With his brother back in action, the clothing business revived, and his next mixtape ready for launch, Nipsey released The Marathon Continues on November 1st, 2011. This mixtape too was exceptionally well received. At this juncture, the West Coast music scene was enjoying a resurgence of sorts, with artists like Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, J-Rock, YG, Currency, Kid Ink, and of course Nipsey himself creating a buzz for themselves. This vibrant atmosphere was beneficial for Nipsey as it helped extend his reach and his influence even further. Around this period, rumors began to swirl that Nipsey might be on the brink of signing with Rick Ross's Maybach Music Group, or MMG. Given that Maybach Music was at its zenith at this time, with Rick Ross enjoying incredible popularity, it seemed logical for a West Coast artist to join their ranks. This rumor gained traction when Rick Ross hinted at a MMG West coming soon on Twitter on January 24th, 2012, a message which Nipsey took the time to retweet. Inevitably, interviewers started to probe into this potential partnership while Nipsey was touring in Europe. Initially, he indicated the discussions were underway, but eventually, he decided against signing with Maybach Music Group. He felt that such a move would betray his team, and he really wanted to chart his own independent course, focusing on nurturing his all money in brand, so he decided he just didn't want to do it.
The main reason was just that, you know, we had committed to doing it a certain way in my team internally, and I think that it would have been selfish for me. I'd have been in a great position as Nip, you know what I'm saying? But I'd have had to build my team value in round two, just because, you know, MMG and the deal would have got credit for taking Nip to whatever level that the next music took me to, rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I had committed that to my team, that whether it happened or not, we was gonna try to do that together.
Despite the decision not to sign with MMG, Nipsey still decided to contribute to their self-made Volume 2 project, released on June 26, 2012. His verse on track 6, Fountain of Youth, featuring Stolly and Rick Ross, is a must listen. Now, in 2012, Nipsey started broadening his business horizons. In addition to his clothing company, he launched a new venture called Wireless Connection on the exact same block as his other business was located. This store location sold cell phones, iPhone cases, and related accessories and services. Although Nipsey didn't release an official new mixtape in 2012, he did release The Marathon Continues Extra Laps on February 13, 2012, which contained leftover tracks from the Marathon Continues project, and a lot of people really enjoyed getting these extra tracks. But they were still left questioning why he didn't put out a mixtape. Now, while fans were left questioning the absence of a new mixtape, Nipsey was busy touring the world, gauging what made people resonate with his music. The information that Nipsey gleaned during this time would inform a pivotal move in 2013 that would forever imprint his name in hip-hop history. In December of 2012, Nipsey announced that he had plans for the Marathon 3 Victory Lap mixtape, the third in his series. However, he decided to rename Victory Lap as his debut album, replacing the previous planned South Central State of Mind. So, what was next for Nipsey? He announced a new mixtape titled Crenshaw, hosted by DJ Drama, a first in Nipsey's catalog, but it was his revolutionary approach to selling this mixtape that caught people's attention. Nipsey revealed plans to release only 1,000 physical copies of this mixtape, and he was gonna sell each physical copy for $100 each. The announcement sparked a barrage of criticism and mockery on the internet, places like Twitter, with many doubting whether anyone would take the time or spend the money to buy the project when it was being sold at that price. However, Nipsey was poised to prove his doubters wrong. On October 8, 2013, Nipsey released his mixtape Crenshaw and set up a pop-up shop in Fairfax that's located in Los Angeles, where fans could purchase 1,000 limited edition copies for $100 each. To everyone's surprise, he sold out of all of his copies that night, grossing over $100,000. Jay-Z himself even bought 100 copies of this album, wiring $10,000 to Nipsey. This move not only silenced his critics, but it was also groundbreaking. No artist, whether on a major label or independent, and no matter what genre you look at, had ever sold a project for $100 a piece. What's more, the mixtape was freely available online too. Nipsey had created a new campaign and a new business model that he called Proud to Pay. This model offered an exclusive limited edition copy of his mixtape that would also come with a ticket to a concert exclusively for those who had bought the copy. This Proud to Pay model was an innovative way to drum up excitement for his releases, and Nipsey would use it for future projects. The mixtape success was undeniable. For the first time, Nipsey made it onto the Billboard Top 100 charts, peaking at number 63 and reaching number 34 on the US Top R&B Hip Hop Albums charts. Another significant outcome from the Crenshaw project was that it led to Nipsey meeting a woman named Lauren London. She messaged him asking him how she could get the Crenshaw mixtape and some items from his clothing store. This correspondence eventually led to them meeting in person at his clothing store, which blossomed into a relationship.
She actually reached out through a mutual friend.
Okay.
When I dropped the Crenshaw project.
Yeah.
Because she was wrapping up a TV show.
Okay.
And I guess a lot of the people that was working on the TV shows from LA, and they do rap gifts, rap parties.
Okay.
She got everybody Crenshaw CDs and shirts for the rap party.
Okay.
And then from there, we was locked in and just kept in contact.
In early 2014, he began to diversify his entrepreneurial endeavors even more by launching a partnership with the fast food chain Fat Burger. A new location was opened in the Crenshaw district, integrating a collaborative business model with Nipsey Hussle's Marathon clothing store.
We standing on Crenshaw and Slauson in the Crenshaw district, area I grew up in. Fat Burger being an iconic brand in LA. You know, our core values kind of aligned. We had an idea to co-brand the Crenshaw collection from the Marathon clothing with the Fat Burger logo. The brands represent Los Angeles. It was just something organic and natural that felt right. The Fat Burger logo, you know, it's like the Hollywood sign, or it's like something that you come to LA, you think of Los Angeles. So we didn't want to get in the way of that. You know, we just wanted to, you know, represent the area and also our Crenshaw collection. The Crenshaw logo is becoming iconic in Los Angeles and starting to mean, you know, more than just the area. It's rich in history, it's rich in culture. And so, you know, I think that a lot of the city and a lot of the country look at us as ambassadors to this area. You know, in the business world, in the music world, nobody really put a flag in the Crenshaw and Slauson area before us. You know what I mean? So I think that it made sense to Fat Burger to reach out. I think that we did a great design. Everybody inside, their whole staff was wearing it, and it just looked dope.
Nipsey revealed in 2014 that he was preparing to launch his first official album titled Victory Lap, irrespective of support from a major record label. However, as the year progressed, new music wasn't really forthcoming, and people just kind of thought that Nipsey wasn't gonna drop. But to everyone's surprise, on New Year's Eve, Nipsey dropped a new mixtape titled Mailbox Money. Like its previous release, it incorporated the Proud to Pay campaign. However, this time it had a twist. Only 100 copies were made available, each priced at $1,000. While it didn't immediately sell out or garner the same level of hype as the earlier release, it did eventually sell all 100 copies within 2 years, making another $100,000 for Nipsey. This mixtape fared well on the charts too, reaching impressive peaks on the US charts for R&B and hip hop albums, rap albums, and independent albums. Despite this, Nipsey opted not to release anything in 2015, maintaining a relatively low profile while embarking on a global tour to boost his brand. He did make an appearance in the TV series Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, highlighting a new facet of his career, which was acting. In 2016, Nipsey resumed his musical career and life presented a new change for him. He collaborated extensively with fellow rapper YG, fueling rumors of a joint album. He featured on YG's track I Wanna Benz alongside 50 Cent and on YG's politically charged song FDT, which I'm sure most of us have heard at least once in our life. Now, Nipsey's birthday on August 15, 2016 saw the release of his new mixtape, Slauson Boy 2, a sequel to his 2005 debut mixtape, Slauson Boys Volume 1. Unlike previous releases, this mixtape was free, gaining widespread acclaim and reaching number 28 on the US Independent Albums charts. A few weeks later, Nipsey and actress Lauren London welcomed their first child together, a son named Cross. Nipsey continued his entrepreneurial pursuits by opening a new enterprise called Elite Human Hair on Slauson Avenue, the same street where his clothing line and wireless connection store was located.
A company called Elite Hair, and it sells,
bundles.
Exactly. I was in the county jail. My boy from Compton told me, man, it's better than dope, Nip. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna triple up off the hair. You go to India and get the kilos of it and, spool it up and
Still
package it.
the hustler lingo.
I got laced. He told me about it. Then my brother came home as well and had the same curiosity about that game and just, put together a bag and went out there and, invested.
2017 brought both triumph and tragedy for Nipsey Hussle. On the business front, he expanded his investment significantly. He first obtained an ownership stake in Followcoin, which was an Amsterdam-based cryptocurrency platform.
I understand cryptocurrency, I understand an unregulated form of currency, I understand peer-to-peer transactions online, but what is Followcoin? And so basically what it is there's a huge amount of value in this cryptocurrency space with trading and exchanging different forms of currency, different times of acquisition, different times of selling. It's very similar to the stock market. So there's people over the last 5-6 years that became very successful trading currencies via different platforms. And so what it is there'll be a big trade that takes place and you'll hear about it next week. And they try to mirror it, but the opportunity came and passed. Very similar to stocks. So what happened with Followcoin gives you the opportunity. It blends the social networking element with the purely financial element of being involved and being aware of great opportunities with socializing people that know about the great opportunities. So what it is, it's a mix, and it's a platform where you can follow successful traders. You already know the top 10 traders in cryptocurrency, and if you don't, they'll be listed. Or the top 50, or the top 100, however dynamic you want to be. You'll say, I got 100,000 total, I got 10,000 total, I got 5,000 total. And you'll say, I want to allocate 1,000 toward this influencer. So the next moves he makes, $1,000 of your investment fund will mirror his moves in real time. You could be asleep, you could be on a plane, you could be wherever, and he make a move, your portfolio that you've allocated towards him will move when he moves. There's less than 1% penetration, and that's a fact because I can't spend Bitcoin here. I gotta still spend US dollars or MasterCard credit or, established credit. Any one of these stores, there's no penetration in the real world. But there's a $27 to $800,000 increase in investment in this space, but there's a 1% penetration in the real world. So what happens when it gets 5% real world? When more people can spend their cryptocurrency at the store, at the restaurant, on the airplane, which is why we came to Amsterdam, because there's a city out here where the whole city is cryptocurrency friendly. And this is an example of what's gonna happen to the rest of the world. And we think that if you get in now, when the value spreads, when the accessibility spreads, you'll be sitting on the right chair. So you might have 10 influencers you follow. You might have 100,000 invested and put 10 toward each one. The 2 successful moves might cover the 8 unsuccessful moves. You might have more information where you go really heavy into these 2 investors because you know what they're doing. And you might invest the whole 100 into these 2, 50-50. But the type of returns that we're seeing in cryptocurrency is not 10%, it's not 7%, it's 700%. All the opportunities that exist in cryptocurrency are time sensitive. And so, outside of the strength of the company, the capacity of the owner, just the model that they built was unique. So we wanted to come see it. And when we did, when we saw it, it was something that we wanted to write a check for immediately. So we cashed out yesterday. We locked in our acquisition of a percentage, and so it was really inspiring.
Cool. That felt great.
It's all good.
Right.
Easy.
So let's have this is copy. That's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Put this in 2.
Just use the same info.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good to
official,
go.
Man.
It's official. We locked in. Get money.
Let's do
yes,
it.
Sir.
Magic.
Love.
Yeah.
Little splash. Nothing too major.
Then he collaborated with the cannabis firm, The Cure Company, and Nipsey developed his own cannabis strain named the Marathon OG. He also added to his existing real estate portfolio in the Crenshaw district, where his clothing line, wireless store, and hair salon were located. He opened a seafood restaurant titled The Fish Shack and reinstated the World on Wheels, a community roller rink initially damaged in the 1992 LA riots. One of his most notable accomplishments that year was the opening of the first official Marathon clothing flagship store on June 17, 2017. Though he had always maintained a presence in this neighborhood, this marked a complete renovation of his image and the launch of the world's first smart store, a concept that was later adopted by tech giant Apple.
It's all money in, no money out. You already know it. Marathon store, grand opening. You know what I'm saying? We doing it, man. Shooters on deck.
All right, my name is Marquise Maris. I'm the city council member, council district E. And let me just say on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, this is the biggest grand opening of any business anywhere in Southern California today. This is the world's first smart store. This is the world's community store. I was just telling Sam and the family, there are a lot of CEOs of a lot of companies like J. Crew and a whole bunch of other companies that get paid millions of dollars. They can't figure out how to open a store on Slauson and Crenshaw anywhere in the United States like this family has done here today. So it's the first smart store. It's our store. We're going to make a lot of money and have a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Nipsey Hussle. Hey, so thank everybody for coming out. Y'all know how many years and damn near 10 days it's been in the making. You know, we started out this parking lot outside of the trunk as teenagers when all of this was abandoned, when the gas station was abandoned, when there was all type of things going down on this corner that don't go down on this corner no more. Because some people from over here changed the intention of what this corner was about. And y'all was a part of that. Yeah.
Every product, every logo on the wall, there's a section where there's art on the wall. Every tag on each product is programmed with content. So there's content on the tags right now. And so once you make a purchase, you know, you take the product home. There's an app you download, the Marathon Store app, and you can put the actual phone to the tag of the clothes and the content will stream. What that'll do is, let's say I got a song with a big artist, and instead of giving it to Apple Music or giving it to a streaming site
you can stream it exclusively in the store.
Yeah, I can attach it to a product and say you can get the song available 3 days before it come out officially if you come buy this t-shirt. It's streaming off the tag. And so after that campaign is over, a year later, I can say, hey, anybody that bought the red Crenshaw baseball V-neck, check your tag. It could be in your dirty clothes from you bought it a year ago. Like I said, I just uploaded a new piece of content to this shirt. And because you bought it, you get it first. It'll come out 3 days later on all the traditional platforms. But as a reciprocation for the support, you get the content first.
However, amidst these successes, Nipsey also faced a devastating loss. On September 29, 2017, Stephen Fats Donaldson, Nipsey's longtime friend and collaborator, was shot and killed outside a marijuana dispensary located in Hyde Park. It was a tremendous blow to Nipsey and his team, as Fats had played a crucial role in Nipsey's journey, including helping to establish the Marathon clothing store.
We go one bittersweet element. I know you lost your partner, Fats. Like,
yeah,
how you dealing with that situation?
Man, you know, that caught me off guard completely. I ain't expect that at all, and the timing was crazy. You know what I'm saying? We've been sitting on everything. We've been just holding our punches just to do it all at once, and you know what I'm saying? We've been all anticipating the moment that we get to enjoy, and it's a little f***ed up. It's really f***ed up that my partner and my homeboy, you know what I'm saying, ain't on this side of the dimension to experience it with us and you know, benefit from it, and you know, from like I don't want to go too deep into it, you know what I'm saying? That shit, I get emotional.
Nah, I feel you. Respect. Respect. No.
You know what I'm saying? But like his kids to be proud of him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, real shit.
Yeah.
This deeply affected Nipsey, but he carried on, living by his motto, the marathon continues. On November 27, 2017, he announced a significant career milestone. He had signed a multi-album deal and partnership with Atlantic Records. He further revealed that his debut album, long in the making, would officially be released in 2018 under the title Victory Lap. 2 days prior to making his partnership with Atlantic Records public, Nipsey teamed up with Los Angeles-based artist Bino on a collaborative project titled No Pressure. This work came to fruition just after the completion of Nipsey's debut album, Victory Lap. No Pressure was released on November 25, 2017. Merely 2 days after that, Nipsey publicly announced on Billboard.com his signing of a multi-album, multi-million-dollar deal with Atlantic Records. This came as a shock to many fans of Nipsey, as he had been vocal and advocated for independence from major labels since leaving Epic Records all the way back in 2010. However, he explained that the partnership was necessary to elevate his career to the next phase. Alongside this revelation, Nipsey shared that his debut album would be released in 2018. This caused excitement amongst his followers since they had been eagerly waiting for his debut album for quite some time. To make a powerful impression, Nipsey decided to release the first single from his debut album. Thus, on December 1st, 2017, the first single was launched.
I think as a brand, you know what I mean, to come out on my first record and say this was different about me. These are the things that's different about me. I do own all the rights to all my raps, you know what I'm saying? Literally, you know what I'm saying? And that's distinguishing, that's what separates Nip, you know what I mean? And so I thought that would be the statement to make coming out first.
Despite not charting, the first single attained gold status, denoting it had sold over 500,000 copies. Accompanying this release, he revealed that his debut album will be called Victory Lap, along with the album's cover art and a release date for it. Furthermore, Nipsey organized a unique campaign for this album, which involved the release of a $500 book called The Marathon. Only 1,000 copies of this book were ever produced. A few weeks later, Nipsey released a track titled The Bend Down featuring Swiss Beats to commemorate the 7-year anniversary of his Marathon mixtape. The track, however, was not included on the album, but it did serve as a complimentary piece for his fans. On January 19, 2018, he released the second single from the album titled Last Time That I Checked, and this track featured YG. This single outperformed the first single by far, reaching number 29 on the US hip hop and R&B charts and number 76 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. This song also went gold, selling over 500,000 copies, and this song is also a banger. Then, on January 20th, 2018, Nipsey unveiled the visuals for what was intended to be the third single, Grinding All My Life, though it was never really pushed officially as a single, which is a shame because this song was really good and it totally could have been a lead single on this album. Anyways, in February 2018, Nipsey's highly anticipated debut album Victory Lap was finally launched. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling over 53,000 copies in the first week, with 30,000 of those being physical album sales. This marked Nipsey's first time he had a top 10 chart appearance for any project ever in his career. This album received outstanding reviews, mostly rating 4.5 or 4 out of 5. Despite the album's release, Nipsey continued promoting it and released several more music videos from tracks off the album. Among these were Hustle and Motivate, which was a cinematic piece hinting at Nipsey's future interest in film and documentaries. But even though Nipsey wanted to eventually make a shift into acting in the film industry, he still wanted to stay true to his roots and maintain his branding. He was serious about it too, to the point that when asked by Dr. Dre and Ice Cube to play Snoop Dogg in the Straight Outta Compton movie, Nipsey declined, saying directly to Snoop Dogg's face that he couldn't do it because essentially it would mess with his branding.
This the G ever did. They was doing Straight Outta Compton movie, right? So Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all the calling me. Man, we trying to get Nip to play you in Straight Outta Compton. He ain't getting back to us. All right, let me holler at the little homie. Oh, I hit him up, Nip. Let me holler at you, pull up on me. He come over to the spot. God, they want you to play me in the Straight Outta Compton movie. I'm happy as a motherfucker to tell him. He like, no disrespect, big homie, but I can't play you in the movie because then people gonna just know me for being you. I gotta be me. And that's with all due respect. I was like, damn, I was gangster as a motherfucker. I called him and I said, good, y'all gotta go find somebody else, good.
In the same month, Nipsey and his business partner David Gross unveiled a community co-writing space named Vector 90 in the Crenshaw district. Vector 90 offers access to resources such as computers for those in the community who might not otherwise have a place to pursue their dreams. This initiative marked their first step towards opening STEM schools in various underprivileged neighborhoods across the country, including Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. Nipsey and David Gross intended to bridge the gap between Silicon Valley and these communities through their ventures.
So the program is called Too Big to Fail, and I didn't start it. I was brought into it. It was started by an investor and a real estate developer named Dave Gross.
Yeah.
And we just were sitting next to each other at the Laker game, and he like, Nip, you know, I'm a fan of the music, and this what I got going on. Let me come out of the office. Let me show it to you. And when I saw the vision, it was like, to sum it up, it's basically a bridge to connect inner city LA youth to the opportunities in Silicon Valley. Because to ever be able to get a job at Google or Facebook or any one of these companies like Apple, you got to get trained early on science, technology, engineering, and math, because it's like a 10, 15 year learning curve for them things. You can't start. I mean, you can start whenever, but you really behind if you start late, you know. So these people that end up working there, you know, they got trained from elementary school.
Right.
You know, so we just want to be able to create a center where these young kids can come tap in, and it's multi-level. This one part of it is it's like a co-working space, kind of like WeWork.
Yeah.
So, you know, entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs in the area could rent office space, and then the other level is the STEM center, where they could just get training and just, you know, get educated on science, technology, engineering, and math.
Nipsey further diversified his business interests by opening a new seafood restaurant in the same plaza where his clothing store and other ventures were located. The restaurant, named Baba Leo's, emphasized a healthier take on seafood. Now, continuing with his business expansions, Nipsey opened a barbershop named Steve's Barbershop in honor of a close friend that had been slain. Additionally, in that same year, he invested in an application called Vest, which is a blockchain-based music app designed to facilitate easier and more transparent payments from consumers to artists.
I know I've been having my foot in this tech space. I just got some inside information about a new opportunity I want to hip y'all to. It's a company called Vest, as in invest. It's basically a marketplace that artists and content creators can go directly to their fan base and their consumers via the blockchain, and they can basically allocate value for either individual songs or whole projects, and fans can buy into the record. Traditionally, you had to go to a publishing company to get money advanced to you for the future value of your records. This platform creates the opportunity for your fans to buy into the record ahead of time. So this is just a new idea. It's a new platform. It's linked to the blockchain, so the whole transaction is transparent. It's something I'm really excited about. I think all new artists, old artists with catalogs that haven't been monetized on the new platforms can really embrace this thing. It's even a new term they came up with called an ISO, which is an initial song offering. In addition to just all the dope features of the technology that the artist can benefit from, just as an investor and as a businessman, it's something I'm going to invest in and become not only an influencer and hopefully on the board of, but also an equity holder.
Next, Nipsey announced an expansion of his clothing line, Marathon Clothing, in collaboration with Puma. The deal included exclusive clothing designed by Nipsey Hussle for the Puma company.
It's two sides to it. On one side, I'm a brand ambassador for Puma, so basically it's an endorsement deal. The other side of it is a collaborative project with the Marathon and Puma. So we're gonna do a collection, multiple collections, but the first one dropped fall 2019, like around September. So it's gonna be shoes, apparel, a few accessories, show a sneaker, but then it's gonna be a marathon, not Nip. It's gonna be a Marathon Puma. I'm also just, you know, endorse the Puma products, so I'm gonna be in ads wearing the stuff, but then the other part of it is a collab between Marathon and Puma. So it won't be no Nipsey Hussle Puma shoe, it'll be a Marathon Marathon Puma shoe. And sweatsuit capsule and t-shirts and stuff like that.
Late in 2018, Nipsey launched his own brand of water called Marathon Water. Nevertheless, he never lost sight of his music. During the summer of 2018, he toured his Victory Lap album and released additional music videos. One of these videos was for the song Double Up, which reached number 65 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming his highest charting song at the time. He also released visuals for the album title track Victory Lap, which peaked at number 100 on the Billboard Hot 100. When the Grammy nominations for Best Rap Album were announced in December of 2018, Nipsey's debut album Victory Lap was amongst the nominees. This marked a significant achievement for him, and he released a new track titled Perfect Timing a week after this. At the 61st Annual Grammy Awards on February 10, 2019, Nipsey was nominated for Best Rap Album, but he lost to Cardi B.
You know, you can't be upset. You can't be, oh, I got cheated, I got let. Nah, this, you know, that was clearly her time because of the way the outcome happened. And even before the Grammy was announced, Cardi had a great year. She had a big year. And so, you know, that was just like, I seen certain people having, even on my timeline, like, man, you got cheated? No, we ain't doing that. That ain't the convo. You feel me? Man, that was her time. She got what she deserved.
Despite not clinching the Grammy and taking it home, Nipsey remained committed to the music. On February 15, 2019, he released the lead single, Racks in the Middle, featuring Roddy Ricch and Hit Boy from his new album. This song would become his highest charting single, peaking at number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100, and basically jump-starting Roddy Ricch's career from nothing. Simultaneously, behind the scenes, Nipsey achieved a long-standing goal of buying the entire plaza where his business was located, not just the section where his store was at. This accomplishment was a surreal moment for Nipsey, as he had started his journey hustling in that very plaza, and now he owned it all, something beyond his wildest dreams.
Well, that one property you talking about, 3420 West Lawson, that's the building that the Marathon clothing was in from day one, even before it was a Marathon, when it was just Lawson Tees. We was just renting a space and, you know, selling little odd items, t-shirts and stuff. It was in that shopping plaza. And even before we had the space rented, that was our corner we used to grind off of. So that building meant a lot to us, for sentimental reasons and just for the strategic location and what's going on right around it in LA and on Crenshaw with the train and everything. So from a real estate standpoint, it was a great opportunity, but then just from a sentimental level also. Yeah, that whole strip mall.
The whole plaza?
The whole plaza, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing.
Myself, my brother, Dave Gross, we partners on it. So we all went in and purchased the whole lot together. Man, it ain't really sunk in for real. You know what I mean? I don't think it really sunk in. And we got other real estate, you know, but that one, just pulling in that parking lot and being like, we come from a real environment where it's a crab and puppy mentality, where, you know what I mean, everybody can have it. So when one person starts to move forward and you know, become a little bit successful, but you still within reach of these people, it's very hard, because you're dealing with the pressures of trying to be successful, as well as pressure of people intentionally waking up to try to bring harm your way. You know what I mean? To try to stop you from doing it, because if I grew up on the same block you grew up on, we had the same trials and tribulations, but you became successful and I became a failure, it made me feel a certain way about myself, because we had the same we dealt the same deck of cards. You know what I mean? So I feel like my success affect the people closest to me the most. A person that don't know me might root for me, you know what I mean, and be happy for me. A person that know me and come from the same environment and have the same cards dealt to them, that keep going to jail, don't have no money, never made their parents proud or their mama proud, never did anything that they could look in the mirror and even proud of. You know what I mean? It makes them feel a certain way. It's intense. And that manifests into jealousy, hate, or violence.
On March 31st, 2019, Nipsey went to his Marathon clothing store, as he often did, to take care of business and spend time with family, friends, and fans. He sent out a tweet at 2:52 p.m. that said, "Having strong enemies is a blessing." Unfortunately, this would be his last social media message. Just a few minutes later, an individual with whom Nipsey Hussle had a conversation returned with a firearm and fired multiple shots at Nipsey and two other individuals. After shooting him multiple times, the shooter then kicked Nipsey in the head before fleeing in a getaway car. Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, was one of the first people to arrive at the scene after the shooting. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, he recounted how Nipsey was still alive and fighting for his life when he arrived on the scene. Despite the injuries, Nipsey was still breathing, and with guidance of a 911 operator, Black Sam performed chest compressions until the arrival of paramedics. However, despite all the efforts, Nipsey succumbed to his injuries. The news of his death led to an outpouring of grief and shock worldwide, with many high-profile individuals from LeBron James to Snoop Dogg expressing their sorrow. The suspect in the shooting was quickly identified and apprehended by the LAPD on April 2nd. On the same day, Nipsey's significant other, Lauren London, shared her grief on Instagram, expressing her profound sense of loss. Following Nipsey's death, support for his vision and legacy led to a surge in sales for his clothing line, with the store making $10 million in sales within just a few weeks of it happening. Due to the sheer volume of orders, the online store had to issue a statement apologizing for the delays for some people's orders due to the increased activity on their website and location. On April 10th, it was announced that Nipsey's funeral would be held at the Staples Center, a distinction previously only afforded to Michael Jackson. This spoke volumes about the love and respect Nipsey commanded in the Los Angeles community and beyond. The funeral service took place on April 11th and was live streamed on various platforms. Many influential figures, including Stevie Wonder, Snoop Dogg, YG, and even former President Barack Obama, shared their respects for Nipsey.
Choice to invest in that community, his choice to invest in that community rather than to ignore it, to build a skills training center, a co-working space in Crenshaw, to lift up the Eritrean American community. He set an example for young people to follow and is a legacy worth of celebration. I hope his memory inspires more good work in Crenshaw and communities like it. Michelle and I send our sympathies to Lauren, Imani Cross, and his whole family, and to all those who love Nipsey. Sincerely, Barack Obama.
I'm very proud of my son. My son, Ermias Joseph Askedome, was a great man.
Following Nipsey's funeral service, a 25-mile last victory lap was taken around LA before he was officially laid to rest. The route passed through all the locations that were significant to Nipsey in his life, including the Marathon clothing store, houses he grew up in, and the Watts Towers, where he originally learned to use music equipment. Thousands of people lined the streets to show their support during this last victory lap. On the day of his funeral, South Los Angeles City Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson announced that the intersection of Crenshaw Boulevard and West Lawson Avenue, the heartbeat of the South LA community, would be renamed in honor of Nipsey Hussle. The intersection was officially renamed Ermias Nipsey Hussle Ashkadon Square, following an online petition that gathered over 500,000 signatures. However, amidst all these tributes, the question of why Nipsey was murdered still lingered. His brother, Black Sam, described the incident as an execution, as if it was a hit job or motivated by jealousy. As the months passed, more information became available. On May 21st, 2019, a grand jury indicted the men suspected of killing Nipsey on several charges, including murder and assault with a firearm. On June 28, 2019, a judge ordered the release of transcripts in the Nipsey Hussle murder case. These transcripts revealed that Nipsey's last words to his assailant were, "You got me." The document also unveiled that they had a 4-minute conversation where Nipsey mentioned to the suspect about rumors of him snitching. The prosecutors believed that this could have triggered the suspect to murder Nipsey. Now, another rapper, Lil Boosie, provided an alternative perspective during an interview that he did with Vlad TV. He attributed Nipsey's murder to jealousy, pointing out that the suspect's girlfriend had taken a selfie with Nipsey minutes before the incident took place. He believed that the suspect, feeling jealous and angry, might have been provoked by this interaction. Boosie suggested the brutality of the attack indicated pent-up anger and jealousy towards Nipsey.
Bro, if it was just a snitch, if he was just killed him because it was a snitch, he wouldn't even die. He would have shot him. Boom, boom. You called me a snitch, boom, boom. That's what it would have been. When you come back 3 times, you kick a man, you been wanting to fight him and kick him. You been wanting to fight him and kick him. That nigga hypnotized. You shoot and kick him, you been had this. I know when you fight him, I know how this is. When you go to the streets and want to kick this, You been wanting to this up, man. That was hypnotized, man.
Now, the man who murdered Nipsey was named Eric Holder, and he argued in court that the reason that he did it was because he got called a snitch.
And tonight, prosecutors are sharing new details about the final moments of rapper Nipsey Hussle's life.
Yeah, they say Hussle told Eric Holder the word on the street was that he was a snitch. Then Holder opened fire. KCAL9's Randy Page has newly released grand jury testimony.
Eric Holder, seen here in court, was indicted by a criminal grand jury for the murder of popular rap artist Nipsey Hussle. We now know what led the grand jury to indict him through this 512-page transcript of grand jury testimony. It begins with Prosecutor John McKinney's opening statement to the jury as he details the testimony they will hear from the prosecution's star witness, identified only as witness number 1, Eric Holder's girlfriend, who was behind the wheel of his car as the two of them pulled into a South LA strip mall where Nipsey Hussle was standing talking to friends on the afternoon of March 31st. Mr. Holder got out of the car, immediately walked up to the group where Mr. Hussle was, and then had a conversation, the prosecutor told the grand jury. That conversation is important because that conversation has something to do with Nipsey Hussle accusing Mr. Holder of snitching, which in the gang world is a very serious offense. The prosecutor went on to say Holder's girlfriend will testify she took a photograph with Nipsey Hussle and she drove Holder away from the strip mall. After they drove off, Mr. Holder pulled out a gun, told witness number 1 to drive around the block. Witness number 1 drove Mr. Holder around the block, also told him to put the gun away, the prosecutor said. She was concerned that he might shoot her accidentally or shoot somebody from her car. He then told her to pull over at a certain location near the strip mall, and he told her to wait there. He'd be right back. He walked off, back toward the parking lot, where he then walked up to within a couple of feet of Nipsey Hussle and fired multiple rounds into him from 2 different guns.
While locked up, Eric ended up getting badly beaten to the point that the trial had to be delayed a bit because of it.
Nipsey Hussle, dead, murdered. Now, the man accused of the murder on trial in Los Angeles. Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter has more for us tonight.
March 31st, 2019, at about 3:20 in the afternoon, there was an explosion of violence at the intersection of Slauson and Crenshaw.
On this day, the acclaimed rapper Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed. Now the trial is underway for the man charged in the crime, Eric Holder. And 2 different arguments in this case have unfolded in the courtroom. The state says Holder's actions were premeditated.
The evidence in this case will clearly show, with absolutely no doubt, that Mr. Holder killed Hermes Astrodome and injured Kerry Lincoln and Sherman Williams. There's no doubt about that. You're going to hear the evidence that he had plenty of opportunity to think about what he was going to do before he did and did. And I make that point because we charge not just murder, but premeditated and deliberate murder.
The defense says this was a crime of passion.
So the heat of passion in this case relates to snitching, an accusation by Nipsey Hussle that just said Eric Holder Jr. was a snitch. That so inflamed and enraged Mr. Holder. The evidence will show that without thinking, a few minutes later, here 9 minutes or so later, Mr. Holder returned and shot Mr. Astrodome. He did not have time to cool off.
In determining what the evidence shows, the jurors in this case will have to consider the testimony of Brianita Nicholson, the woman who drove Holder to the Marathon clothing store just before Nipsey was killed. Her testimony is flush with details that could help steer the jurors to a verdict that indicates whether this was premeditated or, in fact, a crime of passion. According to her, on March 31st, 2019, Holder wanted to get something to eat and go to LA. At some point, they ended up at the Marathon clothing store with Nipsey. She says that at this store, she heard Holder and Nipsey have a conversation about snitching, though it's not clear if the word snitch was used. A previous witness, named Cowboy, said the conversation was about Holder being involved in some paperwork and that no one used the word snitch, though Nicholson says she did hear that word. And in her view, Holder approached Nipsey, but Nipsey tried to brush him off. She says Holder's reaction was to respond loud, but not in an aggressive way. Nicholson says Holder returned to the car and asked her to drive around the block. When she did, that's when she saw him put bullets into an automatic gun and told him, quote, "You ain't gonna shoot nothing by my car." In response, Nicholson says Holder put away the gun. But not long after, she ended up in the alleyway next to the complex. That's when she says Holder got out and told her to wait as he headed back in the direction of the plaza. Nicholson said she then heard 2 gunshots. When he returned to the car, Nicholson says Holder told her to drive. She says when she asked what happened, he said, "You talk too much. I'm gonna slap you." After all the evidence is in and closing arguments complete, it will be up to a jury to decide if this was premeditated murder or crime of passion.
From the time he got out of the car, to walk all the way back to that third wall and walk up to those buildings and start shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. Clearly, he had plenty of time for premeditation and preparation. While he's charged with first-degree premeditated deliberate murder, in fact, it should be voluntary manslaughter.
Yeah, but if you went back to the car to load the gun and then went back again, that gives you enough time to premeditate the murder right there. That's not really heat of passion. Anyhow, a lot of talk about snitching. And you know the old cliche, right? Snitches get stitches. Well, let me tell you what happened today. Let's put it up on the screen. Statement from Aaron Jansen. Eric Holder was apparently attacked. Before he was brought to court yesterday morning, he was at a holding cell at MC Jail, and he was punched in the head in his cell, and that had 13 other people. He was punched in the head, cut with what he thought was a razor, and taken to the hospital. Holder did get an MRI and got 3 staples. And I guess he didn't get stitches. He got 3 staples in the back of his head. His left eye and left side of his face is swollen, and the interior of his eye is really red. 2 people attacked him. Holder had his head down, was getting rest, and was waiting to be transported when he was sucker punched.
One of the biggest points of controversy in this trial came from Nipsey's longtime friend and Rolling 60s OG, Cowboy, aka Big Thundercat, who I introduced y'all to in the beginning of the video. Cowboy was there and witnessed what happened and decided to go against everything the game had taught him and took the stand against Eric Holder.
I worked with Nipsey. Nipsey was my friend. He was like a son. He was like a dad. Our community right now, we lost everything. Everything we worked for, one person took that person to our community. Thousands of jobs we don't have no more. Homies don't have nothing to do. They backsliding. They robbing people now. We had stuff to do. Now they don't have nothing to do. All our stores are closed down. We were relying on jobs. The whole community relied on them and the team that we had down there. Now the team is not down there. Nip is not down there. The whole community is affected. All of our stores are closed. We have nowhere to go. We can't go to Rouse to get no food. The only thing that we have is that shopping center. That shopping center is closed down now. Tourists are coming by there, can't even take pictures no more. Everything we built got tore down. One man's mistake, one man's action messed up a whole community. Our whole community is suffering to this day. These kids don't have nowhere to go. They have nothing to do. They have nothing to look up to no more. And the world still wants to know why. That we want to know why would somebody do that to a person that was leading the whole community. Why? We want to know why. That's all we want to know is why. We will possess a person to take a person out of our community that was so powerful. So many people depended on that person. Nobody depends on this other person. Everybody depends on this one person in our communities. And they want mercy on this guy. Where was the mercy when he was kicking Nipsey on the ground? Where was that mercy at? Where was that mercy at? You want some mercy? You want somebody to show you some love? You ain't even looked at nobody, ain't even look at the jury and show no respect, no remorse.
Sir.
Just say, my bad, I messed up. You know, sir, I got you. I'm trying to do it the right way.
Thank you, sir.
All right. But there's been no remorse from the individual that's on trial. So I'm asking you, Judge, it really, you know, the time, I don't care what you get this guy. It ain't about the time. I need to know why. I wish I could get that. You know, his fate is sealed. He took a man's life, his life is getting taken. Simple as that. You know, it goes against the body. So his life has been forfeited, so he has to deal with God.
In the end, Eric Holder was convicted of the crime and sentenced to 60 years for it.
The jury has returned the verdict in the Nipsey Hussle murder case, and they have found that Eric Holder guilty. First-degree murder, not manslaughter, first-degree murder. He intended to kill Nipsey Hussle, targeted him, and the jury has spoken. We'll have more on this case later, but I wanted to bring you that breaking news. Holder faces up to life in prison, as you can see here, for this diabolical killing in broad daylight of the famed rapper Nipsey Hussle.
On the record in the matter of People versus Eric Ronald Holder Jr., DA 475908. Parties are present. All of our jurors are present. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
All right, the court understands there's a verdict. Who is our foreperson? Jury C12.
Yes, sir.
Has the jury reached a verdict on all counts?
Yes, sir.
All right, please hand the verdict form signed and unsigned to my bailiff, please. You leave it in an envelope. Thank you. Clerk, please read the verdicts.
In the Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, Department 104, the people of the state of California versus Eric Ronald Holder Jr., case number BA 475908. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Eric Ronald Holder Jr., guilty of the crime of first-degree murder of Ermias Ashgadong in violation of Penal Code Section 187, subsection A, of felony as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
Now, Nipsey, while alive, was becoming sort of a social activist, and after his death, people have tried to keep that portion of him alive. And so the first thing I want to talk about here in regards to the legacy of Nipsey Hussle is something called Our Opportunity. Our Opportunity is a social investment initiative, and it's the most recent endeavor aiming to perpetuate the vision of the late Nipsey Hussle. Co-founded by Hussle and David Gross, this initiative works at a grassroots level, with its key purpose being to foster significant economic advancement in impoverished neighborhoods throughout the United States. Although initially focused on Nipsey's home turf in Los Angeles, Our Opportunity aspires to collaborate with leaders from major inner cities such as Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, and so on, aiming to bring about meaningful, transformative projects. Nipsey Hussle's contribution to his community was significant, though its magnitude was never fully realized until after his passing. A detailed report from GoGetData.News revealed that Hussle's business and community ventures from 2013 to 2019 had a projected value of over $210 million. More importantly, it was estimated that he had assisted and impacted up to 41,000 individuals, highlighting the breadth of his influence within his community. Many stories of Nipsey's profound impact on his community emerged after his death, prompting his family to launch the Neighborhood Nip Foundation in August of 2019. This foundation, spearheaded by Nipsey's brother Black Sam, intended to continue Nipsey's mission of providing opportunities and resources to young individuals looking to break into the music industry. Echoing the significance of the Watchtowers program for Nipsey's early career, the foundation plans to provide access to music equipment and relevant training for budding musicians. The foundation has already received substantial support, including a 6-figure donation from Atlantic Records. Adding to this, in September of 2019, the highly anticipated collaboration between Puma and the Marathon clothing was launched and quickly sold out. In a thoughtful gesture, Puma pledged that all proceeds from the sale will go directly to the Neighborhood Nip Foundation. And this wasn't Puma's first act of charity connected to Nipsey. In October of 2018, they restored and repainted the basketball courts at the 59th Elementary School, as well as making a $10,000 donation, demonstrating Nipsey's continued legacy of giving back to his community.
Right now we on 59th and 3rd Ave. I grew up a couple blocks from here. My grandma been in this area, in this community since, decades. It's one of our home courts.
Only on this day, he's at 59th Street Elementary School.
And rooted in this community since day one.
Touring the basketball courts he helped renovate in a partnership with Puma. This is what the courts looked like before.
The backboards was a little ate up, it was no color on the floor, it was a little ran down.
And this is what they looked like after. Nipsey and Puma pumped 10 grand into them.
Obviously the artist was crazy, drew visuals, and it just brings some color, to a place where all the kids gonna be every day, surrounded by art. I think it's good for the brain, I think it's good for the spirit.
In February 2019, the late Nipsey Hussle and his business partner David Gross purchased the plaza that housed the rapper's Marathon clothing store. The duo envisioned investing millions into the plaza to reconstruct it into a 6-story residential building with a commercial plaza at the bottom. The revitalized Marathon store was planned to be the main tenant. It's likely that David Gross and Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, would love to carry on with that dream, but like I said, when I touched down in LA and went to South Central and looked at it, it was gated up and didn't look like much was happening there. Either way, Nipsey was not just a successful businessman. He also had ambitions to expand his Marathon Films production. He revealed his plans to delve into documentary filmmaking, starting with the piece on Dr. Sebi. After Nipsey's death, Nick Cannon pledged to continue with the documentary and even released a trailer for it, but nothing ever came of it, and as of right now, looks like Nick Cannon might have gave that up, but it was a dream of Nipsey's to delve into documentary filmmaking, and you can see that on his YouTube channel by the numerous documentaries that have been posted there. The impact of Nipsey's untimely death rippled through his music career, causing a surge in his sales and stream. His album Victory Lap initially debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200, but after his passing, it climbed all the way back up to number 2. All singles from Victory Lap have since went gold, and the album itself eventually achieved platinum status, signifying 1 million copies sold. His single Racks in the Middle also went platinum. This dramatic increase in his music's popularity after his death illustrates the profound influence he had on his listeners. Now, since his demise, there have been people that have came out to try to tarnish Nipsey's legacy, people like Wack 100, and they've had a whole bunch to say about him, none of which I'm going to cover in this video because it just doesn't feel respectful to. Moving on, posthumously, Nipsey Hussle's music featured in various releases, including DJ Khaled's Higher track featuring John Legend. The music video for this song was the last one that Nipsey ever filmed. The track peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100, marking the highest position for any song in Nipsey's career, and eventually earned gold certification. Recognition for Nipsey's talent and humanitarian work came from various award shows following his death. The 2019 BET Awards honored him with the Humanitarian Award and Best Male Hip Hop Artist Award. His mother gave a heartfelt speech while accepting the Humanitarian Award on his behalf. Nipsey's music also received acknowledgement at the 62nd Annual Grammy Awards in January of 2020. He posthumously won Best Rap Song Performance for his feature on DJ Khaled's Higher and Best Rap Performance for his own track Racks in the Middle. But I'm sure Nipsey knew this before he passed. A Grammy don't mean shit. I'm sure he was just happy to be giving back to the people that supported him. In the tapestry of the contemporary hip-hop scene, the threads woven by Ermias Joseph Ashkadon, better known as Nipsey Hussle, are imbued with the vivid colors of resilience, empowerment, and undying optimism. Though his life was tragically cut short, his legacy persists, inspiring countless individuals within and outside of the music industry. He embodied the quintessential phoenix rising from the ashes, rising from the concrete jungles of Crenshaw and Slauson in South Los Angeles through the tumultuous trials of gang life, and eventually transcending into an influential figure whose name echoed not just in the corridors of the hip-hop world, but also in the broader landscape of community activism. Nipsey Hussle's music was both a mirror reflecting the stark realities of his environment and a lighthouse guiding those lost in the tempest of adversity. His lyrical genius bore the soul of a poet and the heart of a revolutionary, defining the shackles of poverty, violence, and systematic injustice. His discography, encapsulated in his Grammy-nominated album, Victory Lap, was more than just rhythm and rhymes. It was a testament to his infatigable spirit, providing an unvarnished narrative of his journey while illuminating a pathway for others to follow. However, Nipsey's impact was not confined to the studio or stage. His entrepreneurial prowess was evident in his ventures, most notably the Marathon clothing store, which transcended the traditional retail space, integrating technology and fashion in a unique way. His adoption of the cryptocurrency model for his music and his vision for the smart store encapsulated his forward-thinking approach, demonstrating his keen business acumen and passion for innovation. Nipsey was more than just a rapper or a businessman, but a beacon of hope for his community as well. He invested in real estate projects, created job opportunities, and advocated for STEM education for marginalized youth. His deeds painted the picture of a modern-day Robin Hood kind of, striving to uplift his community and rectify the socioeconomic imbalance prevalent in society today. In a world where the limelight often obscures the struggle of the disenfranchised, Nipsey illuminated their plight, pushing forward an agenda of empowerment and equity. Even in death, Nipsey's voice resonates, echoing his ideals of perseverance, self-reliance, and community upliftment. His demise was an incalculable loss, leaving a void in the hearts of many. Yet, in the face of this loss, his message endures, reaching even the most distant corners of the world through his music. His life may have been a candle that was extinguished too soon, but the light he kindled continues to shine. Nipsey Hussle was a man of many faces, a formidable rapper, an ingenious entrepreneur, a relentless activist, and above all, a dedicated champion to his community and a father to his kids. His story serves as a blueprint for overcoming adversity and leveraging success for communal benefit. The robust pillars of his legacy, his music, entrepreneurship, and activism stand as a testament to his indomitable spirit. His life encapsulates the essence of his own lyrics. The highest human act is to inspire. Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle may be gone, but the lessons he imparted and the impact he made are immortal, forever ingrained in the annals of history and the hearts of those that he touched. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.